Chapter 1. The Gossipy Child. Let us begin. Umesh. Where did you go during the holidays? Amit. I went camping. Umesh. Who did you go with? Amit. My cousins and my neighbors came with me. Umesh. Did you really live in tents? Amit. Yes, we did. We had great fun. Umesh. Who cooked for you? Amit. We did the cooking. We enjoyed cooking on the open fire. Umesh. What else did you do? Amit. We went trekking. We walked through the jungles. Umesh. Didn't you get lost? Amit. No, we had a compass. It directed us to the right path. Umesh. I wish I had come. Let us read at home. Harold was a wonderful child, just like you. He would try all the food put in front of him, just like you. He would put away his toys at night, just like you. He would help out around the house, just like you. But when Harold was in school, he had a problem, a big problem. He was a gossipy. He said unkind and hurtful things about the other children in his class. Clara couldn't answer the teacher's question. Tee-hee, Jimmy cried yesterday on the playground. He's a crybaby. Johnny smells bad. Phewie. Nobody picked Melissa to be on their team. She had tears in her eyes. Tee-hee. Harold made a lot of the children in Mrs. Goldberg's class cry, but Harold kept on making fun of his classmates. One day, when Harold was homesick with the chicken pox, the children complained to Mrs. Goldberg about him. Good morning, children. Good morning, Mrs. Goldberg. Does anyone have anything special to tell us before we begin our day's work? I do, said Jeremy. It's about Harold. He says mean things to us. Yesterday he told Lizzie that her new dress was ugly and that she looked like an old lady. And he laughed at my picture. He said I scribbled like a baby. Yeah, said Trish. He said my new haircut made me look like a boy. Trish's eyes filled with tears. He told Chrissy that her letters were backward and said that means she's dumb. The children went on and on with their complaints. Mrs. Goldberg looked very thoughtful, and she said, when Harold comes back to school, I'll talk to him. A week later, Harold returned looking miserable, with red dots all over his face and body. Mrs. Goldberg asked him to stay after school that day. Harold, she said, I'm happy to see you back in school. I hope you are feeling better. While you were gone, the children told me about your gossiping. They say you're unkind to them. Oh, that, said Harold. I'm just having a little fun. Those are just words. I can take them back any time I want. Harold said, Mrs. Goldberg, I want you to do something for me. Sure, Mrs. Goldberg, said Harold. He really liked his teacher and wanted to please her. Good, take this pillow filled with feathers. Mrs. Goldberg picked a feather pillow and said, go outside on the playground and shake it till all the feathers have scattered. It's a windy day, so you can have fun. Harold marched off to the playground where his friends were playing. He shook the pillow and the feathers flew everywhere. The children had a wonderful time. Harold went back to Mrs. Goldberg with the empty pillowcase. And now, Harold, said Mrs. Goldberg, here's a basket. Collect the feathers and bring them back to me. But I can't, he cried. The wind blew them away. Harold went outside with the basket, but he only found a few feathers. When he came back into the classroom, Mrs. Goldberg looked into the basket and said, once you released the feathers, they scattered and you couldn't gather them back again. Yes, Mrs. Goldberg, your unkind words are the same as the feathers. Once you've spoken them, they have a life of their own and cannot be taken back. Remember that, Harold. And from now on, think very carefully before you say anything unkind to anyone. Let us recite. Riding on my bike. Riding on my bike, that is what I like the wind. So fast I go, past the houses in a row. Now fast and faster, set the brake. Downhill I go, what speed I make. Then up the hill, without a stop I push and pedal to the top. I pedal hard, I pedal fast. Back home again I come at last.